The Bible contains numerous prophecies, many of which are believed to be yet to be fulfilled in the end times. These events are associated with the second coming of Christ, the tribulation period, and God's ultimate judgment of the world. Below are 4 significant prophecies that many believe are close to fulfillment, explained in more depth. 1. The rebuilding of the Third Temple in Jerusalem. Scripture basis: Daniel chapter 9 verse 27, Matthew chapter 24 verses 15, 2 Thessalonians 2-4. Revelation chapter 11 verse 1-2. Prophecy explanation: the Bible mentions a future temple in Jerusalem, often referred to as the Third Temple, which plays a crucial role in the final events of the end times. The first temple was built by King Solomon and destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC. The second temple was built after the Babylonian exile and destroyed by the Romans in AD 70. Prophecy indicates that another temple will be constructed before the return of Christ. Daniel 9:27 and Matthew chapter 24 verse 15 refer to a future desecration of the temple, known as the abomination of desolation. The Apostle Paul, in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4, describes the Antichrist as entering this temple and declaring himself to be God. The Book of Revelation 11:1-2 speaks of a temple that will be measured and controlled by Gentiles for 42 months, 3.5 years, which some associate with the time of tribulation. Current context: preparations for the construction of the Third Temple are already in progress. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem is working to recreate the necessary items and train priests for temple service. Efforts are also being made to secure the location of the temple, though the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, important Islamic sites, currently occupy the traditional site of the First and Second Temples. The political tension surrounding this area is significant, and any movement toward rebuilding the temple could trigger global conflict, which aligns with the prophecy's view of Jerusalem as the focal point of end-time events. 2. The emergence of a global government. Scripture basis: Revelation chapter 13 verses 1-7. Daniel chapter 7 verses 23-25. Prophecy explanation: the Bible describes a future world leader, the Antichrist, who will rise to power and establish a global government. In Revelation chapter 13 verses 1-7, this leader is depicted as having authority over all peoples, nations, and languages, indicating a global control. He will unite nations under a common political, economic, and religious system. This prophecy also speaks of the Antichrist blaspheming God and persecuting those who remain faithful to Christ. Daniel chapter 7 verses 23-25 further emphasizes that the final kingdom on earth, led by the Antichrist, will devour the entire world and oppress God's people. This regime will be marked by global governance, enforced by technology and political alliances. The mark of the beast. Revelation 13:16-18. A system of economic control where individuals cannot buy or sell without it, is an integral part of this global government. Current context: with increasing globalization, advancements in digital technology, and the growing influence of international institutions like the United Nations, World Health Organization, and the World Economic Forum, many see the infrastructure for a global government already being laid. Global crises such as pandemics, climate change, and economic instability are often cited as potential reasons for consolidating power under a central authority. The merging of political, economic, and digital systems worldwide can be interpreted as moving toward the fulfillment of this prophecy. 3. The Ezekiel 38-39 war, Gog and Magog invasion, scripture basis. Ezekiel 38-39. Prophecy explanation. In the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38-39 describe a major military conflict in which a coalition of nations, led by a ruler named Gog from the land of Magog, invades Israel. This invasion occurs in the latter years and Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 8, when Israel is dwelling securely in the land. The invading forces include nations like Persia, modern-day Iran, Gomer, often associated with Turkey or Eastern Europe, and Rosh, interpreted by some as Russia. According to the prophecy, this invasion will provoke God's direct intervention. He will cause confusion among the attacking armies and send natural disasters, e.g., earthquakes, fire, and brimstone, to destroy them. This battle is seen as a turning point that reveals God's sovereignty to the nations of the world and prepares for the coming of the Messiah. Current context. The geopolitical alliances described in Ezekiel 38-39 are remarkably similar to current global dynamics. Russia, Iran, and Turkey have become increasingly aligned in their opposition to Israel and its allies. Recent developments in the Middle East, particularly tensions around Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza, have escalated military threats against Israel. Some believe that the groundwork for the Gog and Magog invasion is being laid, as Israel's position in the region becomes more isolated and fragile amid global hostility. 4. The mark of the beast. Economic control. Scripture basis. Revelation chapter 13 verses 16-18. Prophecy explanation. In Revelation 13:16-18, the mark of the beast is described as a symbol of allegiance to the Antichrist. Without this mark, which will be placed on the right hand or forehead, no one will be able to buy or sell, effectively controlling all commerce. This mark is associated with the number 666, and accepting it is a sign of submission to the Antichrist's regime. This system will allow the Antichrist to exert total economic control over the population, ensuring that those who oppose him are unable to participate in daily life. Many Christian interpretations warn that taking the mark signifies a rejection of Christ and leads to eternal condemnation. Current context. Technology is advancing rapidly in ways that could make such a system feasible. The development of biometric identification, microchip implants, and digital currencies has the potential to enable the kind of total economic control described in the prophecy. For example, countries are moving toward cashless societies, with centralized digital currencies that could be tied to biometric data. Some have speculated that future systems could include implantable technology for financial transactions, making the mark of the beast prophecy more plausible in modern times. These 4 prophecies focused on the rebuilding of the Third Temple, the rise of a global government, the Ezekiel 38-39 war, and the mark of the beast, are interpreted by many as being increasingly relevant in light of modern events. Believers see these developments as evidence that the world is